I'm Chef Leander, and this is Small Kitchen Big Taste. Today we're going to make a homemade vegetable broth that will make fabulous soups all winter long. We're going to start with the Instapot by turning it on to sauté, and we're going to let it heat up. While we're doing that, I'm going to rough chop an onion. I'm also going to cut a carrot. This is kind of a fun little restaurant trick. If you want something to look rustic, look at the knife and the carrot. They're at 45-degree angles. And then if you just roll the carrot, you get all kinds of different sizes and shapes. And that just makes the soup look a little more informal. Okay, this has started to heat up. I'm going to hit it with just a smidge of avocado oil. We're going to put the onion in. So we're just going to stir that and let that brown a bit. Now while we're letting that cook and brown up, I'm going to pull the celery aside. When I work with celery, I love using the leafy part of the celery at the top of the stalk. And then we're going to get ready to put the mushrooms in. So here goes the mushrooms in. Now the mushrooms have some moisture in them, and so that's our next milestone, is to look for the water to come out of the mushrooms and let this all start to brown up a bit. Now we're going to add the tomato paste and the garlic. And this is all going in. By the way, are you aware of the fact that tomato paste, when it comes out of the can, is not cooked? And so one of the things we want to do to help develop the flavor is to cook this tomato paste. So I'm putting it in the bottom, and we're going to get that right in contact with the bottom plate of the pot, and we're going to stir that around a little bit and get it to brown up. What we're really looking for is for this to actually brown and burn slightly. We want it to create some fond. That's the word that chefs use. We want it to get a little bit crusty on the bottom, and then we're going to use some water to deglaze the pan. And when we deglaze it, all of that fond, which has turned brown because the sugars have caramelized, and all of that is going to come up off the bottom of the pan. There you can see it forming on the bottom of the pan. And all of that's going to come up and become yummy, wonderful, deep, rich flavor in the broth. And there it is. Hit it with, you get that sizzle, and you know that that fond is going to come up off the bottom. And now we've got a rich tomato paste, a roasted tomato paste flavor on the bottom. So now you can put some more water in. I'm eventually going to fill this, but I don't want to do that just yet. We have some salt and peppercorns, so those are going in. We have our carrots and celery and the rest of our herbs and spices, thyme, rosemary. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach here in the freezer behind me. Remember a month ago we made basil cubes? We just took fresh basil, ran it in the food processor or the blender with a little bit of olive oil, put it in the ice cube tray, put the ice cube tray in the freezer, and then after it had frozen, I pulled it out into a Ziploc bag. That's going to be basil for everything I cook between now and Christmas. Here's some more herbs, some kale, some parsley, and that's all there is to it for this wonderful stock. I'm going to add some more water until we get to that fill line. It's marked on the inside of the Instapot that 2/3 full is the max for pressure cooking. And now seal this up, then hit the soup broth button, and it's set for 60 minutes. And so we're just going to let this do its magic, and in 60 minutes we'll come back. The wonderful thing about an Instapot is you put it in, you seal it up, and you come back to fabulous food. And if you're one of the few people that are in my audience that don't have an Instapot yet, you could always click the link in the description and it will take you directly to the Amazon store. When you buy through Amazon with us, then we get a small stipend on it, and we really appreciate that. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us out a lot. So if you don't have an Instapot yet and you're looking for one, maybe a Christmas present, here's your chance. So the Instapot has cooked the broth for a couple of hours, and now we're ready to pour it out and use it. But before we do that, I have gone to the sauté button, and when I press sauté, notice that the lid has to be open for this to work, but when I press sauté, we have 30 minutes on the timer. That will actually bring the pot to a boil, and it will boil for 30 minutes and turn off. What I did for this recipe is I did that 4 times. So I brought it to a boil with an open Instapot 4 times, and what that did is exactly what you expected. It boiled off some water, it concentrated the flavors, and it makes this broth even that much richer. We now want to get rid of all the solids and create a liquid stock. We're going to take this pot liner out, and I'm going to turn this so it pours into the colander, and the stock itself goes through to the bottom. Now that it's strained, I'm going to pour it into this pitcher. And now you can see how delicious that broth looks. It's thick, it's creamy, it's got the flavor of the nutritional yeast in it, and it's just a great, great broth. We're actually going to make some healing congee soup with it in our next video. But I also wanted to show you the Super Cube. The Super Cube is a way to freeze by portion. So I get exactly 1 cup servings, and 1, 2, just that fast, 3, 4, and there you have 4 servings measured out. Put the lid on, put it in your freezer, and you've got stock to use that's measured out in 1 cup portions for as long as it lasts, which with this will probably be less than a week. So I hope you've had a good time today. I hope you enjoy the broth. Come back for the healing congee. I'm Chef Leander. To your health.